What's up guys, welcome to part 5 of the ATM series. In this video we're going to be adding these buttons to the withdrawal page. We're also going to be adding an entry box for other amount, and we're going to be working on the deposit page as well. If you like this content, don't forget to hit the like button. Alright, let's open up our Python file and let's pick up where we left off. You're at the withdrawal page. Right under button frame. So we're going to start off with a 20 button. Let's put it on our button frame. We want it to display a 20. And we want to call in a function withdraw when the user clicks on this button. And we also want to send over a 20 as a parameter. Because we're sending something over, we have to use lambda. If we were only calling on a function and not sending anything over, then we would just use command. Let's create that function up here. And we'll create this function once we're done with our buttons. Let's give this button a border. Let's go with the raised style. Let's give it a border width of 3. Let's give it a width of 50 and a height of 5. Notice that we're using the same border style, border width, and width and height for each button. That's because we want everything to be consistent and for it to look professional. Let's place this on the grid. Want this in row 0, column 0. And let's give this a patio 5 so our buttons aren't so close together. Let's see what that looks like. Alright, there's our first button. Now let's create the rest of the buttons. We're just going to copy and paste this code because the other buttons look exactly the same. We're just going to change 20 to 40. We're also going to change the location of this button. This is going to be right under the 20 button. So this is going to be in row 1. Let's do the same thing for the 60 button. And this is going to be under the 40 button. So this is going to be in row 2. Let's create the 80 button. And this is going to be right under the 60 button. So this is going to be in row 3. This is going to be the 100 button. This button's going to be to the right of the 20 button, so we're going to move over 1 column. This button's going to be under the 100 button, so let's put it in the same column. And because it's going to be under it, we also have to change the row. This is going to be the 300 button. This one's going to be under the 200 button, so let's put it in the same column, and let's move one row down. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, here are the buttons, but we want them to be over here on the right, so we're going to use pad X to separate them. Let's go over to the 100 button. And here in .grid, we're going to add a pad X of 555. And I know that works because I tried it. I actually tried out different amounts until I got it just right. See what that looks like? All right, there are the buttons. And we don't have to add the pad X to the other buttons because of the way the grid works. Since these buttons are on the same column, if this one gets a pad X, then all of them are going to get the pad X. Now let's create an entry box down here for other amount. So let's go all the way down to the 300 button, and we're going to insert this entry box here. Let's call it the other amount entry. We want it in button frame. And whenever we create an entry box, we need to create a text variable to grab whatever the user entered into that entry box. We're going to call it cash. Let's create it up here. Let's make it of type string. Let's give it a width. I'm going to go with 59. Let's add this to the grid. And we want this right underneath the 300 button, so we're going to place it in column 3, and we want it in the same row, so it's going to be in column 1. And let's also give it a patty of 5 so it's not so close to the 300 button. Let's check it out. Here's the entry box. Let's make it a little bit taller to match the height of the buttons. And I also want the text to appear over here on the right instead of on the left. To make the text appear on the right, we're going to include one more parameter, justify right. And let's make it taller. Let's give it an IPatty of 30. Let's see it again. The text is on the right now, and the height matches the buttons. Now let's go work on our withdraw function. That way we can actually withdraw money when the user clicks on these buttons. First, we're going to create a global variable. So let's go all the way to the top. Let's call it current balance. Let's set it to 1000. Let's go back to the withdraw page. And let's work on the withdraw function. So let's bring in that variable we just created. We're going to subtract the amount from our current balance. Our amount represents whatever button the user clicked. So if the user clicks on the 20 button, we're sending over the 20 through amount. That's why we're subtracting amount from current balance. If the user clicks on the 40 button, then we're sending over a 40, and we're going to subtract 40 from current balance. At this point, the user already selected the amount that they wanted to withdraw, so let's send them back to the menu page. Let's look at our blueprint. Notice that this entry box doesn't have an enter button, so there's no way for the user to enter the other amount that they want to withdraw. So we're going to have to fix that. Let's go down to our entry box. To fix this, we have to let the user click on the enter button in their keyboard in order to enter that amount, because they can't click on a button. So we're going to use a bind with this other amount entry box. So type in the name of the entry box, other amount entry dot bind. Let's create a function that's going to let them do that. Let's call it other amount. We're going to create it up here. Let's bring in our current balance. And let's subtract whatever other amount the user wants to withdraw. And we stored that amount in this cache text variable, but we made it of type string. So we're going to have to convert that into an int. So this is known as typecasting. In here, we're going to type in the name of that text variable, and we're going to use .get to grab whatever the user entered into the entry box. At this point, we want to set cache to an empty string. So when the user comes back to this page, that other amount that the user entered isn't still on that entry box. We're just going to use .set for this, and we're going to set it to an empty string. We also want to send the user back to the menu page since they already withdrew whatever they wanted to withdraw. Let's test this. Okay, that's working. Let's go back to withdraw and let's enter another amount. 500, click enter, and that's working correctly too. That completes the withdraw page. You guys can add a label down here that says other amount if you want. I did it in my original project. I'm sure you guys can figure out how to do that. All right, let's work on the deposit page. And if you notice, this page looks very similar to the start page. So we're just going to go over to the start page and copy this label and enter your password label from the start page. And we're going to change the text to enter amount. And we're also going to copy and paste this bottom frame. Let's go do that. So we're going to go over to the start page. And we're going to copy from where it says heading label all the way to where it says password label. Pack here. So Control C that. Go all the way down back to the deposit page. And Control V to paste that. We're going to change this to enter amount. And we're going to change the name of the label as well. Let's change it to enter amount label. And let's go over one page up and copy that bottom frame. It doesn't really matter where you copy it from because it's all the same. So we're going to copy it from this page. Paste it under enter amount label. And let's see what that looks like. All right, this is what we have so far. Let's change the background color. Let's go over to this frame. This is the frame that is holding all the widgets that we're adding to this page. We're going to use BG, and we're going to use the same color. Let's run this again. And this is what we have so far. That's going to wrap it up for this video. I'll see you guys in part 6.